All right. So, hello all. Welcome to episode 3 of the YouTube series for the addict and the counselor, and for our dedicated, amazing podcast listeners. This is episode 41, 42. We've lost count.
41.
We do have guests waiting to entertain us and to hopefully share some of their experience and really enlighten us. And so once again, you can kind of listen to us on any podcast platform. You can find us on YouTube as the Addict and the Counselor Show. Please subscribe, follow, comment on YouTube, or any if you listen to us on Spotify. Also email us at theaddictandthecounselor@gmail.com with any questions, comments, concerns, or any subject that you want us to cover. We're really excited to find new material and find new things around addiction and recovery and treatment that impacts people that we'll definitely be excited to kind of get involved with. Are you excited?
I'm always excited.
I wouldn't go that far. All right. So here we go. Hello. Is there anybody out there? Oh,
hi.
There you go. Camera appears. Hello, Jess.
How are you?
Good, good. How are things?
Things are thingy. They're good.
Jess, so that's Bob Rose, our co-host, and Bob Rose, Jess.
Nice to meet you.
Likewise. Thank you very much.
Is Jackie on?
She is on, but does not have her camera on, possibly audio also. Jaclyn, can you hear us? You might want to try to log out and back in. Why am I high-pitched?
All right, so you said this is episode 41, the third, right? 41, the third episode of our YouTube series, we're calling it. Is that what we're doing? Is that what we're saying?
Is that what it is called? We don't know.
And I am so excited. This is the first of this kind where we have two guests. That's right, I said two guests on simultaneously. The dynamic duo of Jess and Jess and Jackie. Yeah, I'm so psyched. Is Jackie on yet? Because I just introduced you guys as like the dynamic duo, and I feel
saying host won't let her in. Can't be true.
Oh, so that's your problem, Bobros, Mr. Tech Guy.
Well, so if she's typing into the chat, how do you think she's in the chat?
I think it said host won't let her unmute.
Oh, but her video's not up either.
No, I don't control muting. Surprising we're not as tech savvy. Read upon entry. No, it's not. Okay, she's coming back in. Let's see what happens.
All right. Anyways.
Oh.
Oh my gosh, I'm here.
There it did.
Hi.
Hear anything that we were saying?
Yeah, I heard everything. I felt targeted.
All right. It was not. I'm glad we didn't say anything negative because I didn't know if you were on or not. But no, I'm glad you guys made it. I was, saying how excited we are to have two guests on simultaneously for the first time in the Addict and the Counselor podcast show. Woo! And I called you guys like a dynamic duo because that's how you guys kind of sold it to me, right? And it was a sell job, Barbara. So let me tell you, it was a sell job on Halloween night or whatever it was. so the last time, so I met, and correct me if I'm off, Jackie and Jess, with any of this. So we met at a Halloween party, right? Recovery Halloween party, mostly. Most people were recovery, some weren't, maybe. And I think Jackie may have been wearing like bunny ears or something, and you had blood all over your face and shit. Right,
Right, clearly a vampire, not a girl.
Yeah, vampire mode. Like, yeah, you were really like, yeah, in like you were scary. You were scary.
Thank you.
Yeah, you did the job, and
Great costume. Great costume.
Yeah, great. And yeah, we just started chatting right away, right? And somehow I like found out pretty quickly that you were in recovery. Like, I confirmed that somehow, and I blew like your anonymity or something. Like I said, like really loud, like you're sober or something. This is how I remember it. And you said something of like about that. And then I started to talk, like promote the podcast or whatever. So like we can get like 2 more viewers or whatever, 2 more listeners, because I'll do anything for a listener, right? And
anything?
What?
Anything?
Anything?
And then along the way,
Anything.
I remember Jackie saying, we should be on the podcast, Jess. And I looked at you guys and I'm like, yeah, you should be. To speed up this a little bit. I'm like, yeah, I'll follow up, blah, 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 exchange numbers. And something weird happened where and a couple of days later I followed up. I'm like, I text you, Jackie, and I'm like, hey, just following up about being on the pod, blah, 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 this is how it works. Let me know if you're still interested. And I see typing. I don't think I said this to you. I've shared this with you, except for maybe text, but I see you typing. You know how you can see the other person like messaging back?
3 dots.
Right, exactly, 3 dots. And you're doing this for like 10 minutes or so. Every time I look down, she's still typing, and then nothing. Absolutely nothing, right? I'm like, this is weird. And like the day goes by, nothing. The next day, I think I did like another follow-up. And again, you want to talk about like annoyed on my end? I'm like, the dots, right?
The dots.
Where are the dots?
The freaking dots, and nothing. No, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I called Barbara. I'm like, you wouldn't believe this. Like, I'm seeing the dots. I'm like, 10, who does 10 minutes of dots? Something like that.
Surprisingly, Adam overthought the whole scenario. What a shock, right?
And then then I'm like, but Barbara, it wasn't just that one day, 2 days in a row, like 10 minutes of dots, but nothing. Whatever. They obviously don't want to be on, blah, blah, blah. And then somehow through like mutual friend, right? Because I had to tell them about it too, right?
No one's safe. No one's safe.
I'm outing myself big time. And they're like, no, they actually did respond. And you had a response, you had it on your end, but I never received your messages. Yeah. This is what happened.
Yeah, that's what happened.
That's what happened.
Confirmed.
Yeah, correct.
I got it right. That happened. Yeah. So once I found that out, once I got confirmation that you didn't just like say, F you, Adam, I don't want to be in your stupid show. When I got confirmation you didn't do that, and you really did want to still possibly be on it, I reached back out to you, and here we are tonight, basically, right?
The dots turned into something special.
The dots turned into reality.
Yeah.
I think it's the title of a book. That should be the title of a book. The dots turned to something special.
Okay.
I see a tattoo in our future.
But I don't understand, and we don't have to get into it because we probably don't have time. I don't understand what went wrong with our phones. I don't know. Do you know? All right.
Well,
All right.
so
So
it's
anyways,
technology, Adam, and it's not perfect science. Sometimes texts don't go through to people. There's a giant satellite 5 million miles above Earth that messages go to. It has to come back to the person. And sometimes one message doesn't go through.
whatever. Glad it eventually all worked out. So here we are. So do you have any other stuff you want to get to, Bob Rose? You did your whole spiel, right?
Yeah, did the whole spiel. I guess, if you are familiar with the show, towards the end of it, we have the 5 controversies. So I'm hoping both of you can stick around for that. I think that, it'd be quite entertaining now with 2 guests, first time that, we're doing this. So greatly appreciate both of your time, setting aside, your lovely Tuesday night to hang with us for a little bit. So no, I don't have any kind of like administrative things. It's just, greatly appreciate you both, coming on and doing our silly little show here. And really, whoever wants to go first, and this is just really about you sharing whatever you're comfortable in sharing. And then obviously having space for the other person to be able to share whatever they want to share in and around their kind of, their journey. Yeah, so no pressure, but it's your platform.
So yeah, so I'm thinking, Jess, Jess, why don't you, if you could share like a little bit about, your addiction and, you getting into recovery, and then,
Sure.
and maybe Jackie can share her addiction, get into recovery, and then that's when you guys kind of meet, right? Or meet each other in early recovery, right? So something like, so why don't we start, if that's okay, why don't we do it that way?
Yeah, sure, that sounds good. So prior to getting sober, I was a daily drinker for about a decade, 15 years. And, alcohol is my drug of choice. And for me, it really did progress slowly. I remember back when I was about 25 and my children were very little. Back then, I was working full time and I was going to school at night, and I was a single parent. But I had to have that 6-pack every night while I was cooking dinner and while I was cleaning. And I remember going to a therapist and I said, I have this problem. Like, I have to drink every night, and, not drinking is not an option, but I don't have any consequences yet. And he pretty much told me that he didn't know how to help me. So I proceeded to rack up some consequences for the next decade.
What were some of those? Can you talk about like a couple?
Oh yeah, no, I'm definitely going to. So that 6-pack became a 12-pack, and then a 12-pack of Twisted Tea a night. You start putting on weight rapidly, and so changing over to hard booze and water sounded like a great idea for me to get in shape. And that really, exploded my alcoholism. And, for me, I didn't know what I didn't know. And I didn't necessarily see it as a problem, because I believed that I was under so much stress and overwhelm, as a single parent working and all these things, that as soon as my life calmed down, I wouldn't have to drink the way that I was drinking. And that to me was my truth. And that unfortunately did keep me sick for a long time, because things just progressed and things got worse. By the end of my drinking, I was covered in bruises from falling downstairs all the time. And I'd actually called my doctor because I didn't know if I had some sort of blood problem or, what could be wrong with me that I'd have all these bruises, because I didn't remember half the falls. So just making terrible decisions because I was in a state of survival where, I couldn't function at the end. I had to drink to deal with the things that I had done and my feelings, and, it was a mess. I'm just trying to think, because, you know, a lot of times it's tough for me to go back there and think about what things were like, because it's not like that anymore. That's not how I live my life today. But, you know, when I was drinking, it would be normal for me to show up to work hungover or not show up to work because I was drunk or hungover. You know, dishes are left on the stove from last night. Is it dinner from last night, or is it a couple nights ago? And you know, this is what my kids had as their only parent. And you know, I don't want to just share jackpots. I can tell you that they're there. I can tell you that I drank the way I drank because I couldn't live inside of my head, and it was a very painful place to be. Yeah. So my kid's father, who is not in the picture, he is an addict, and he, you know, prefers drugs where I preferred alcohol. But his disease looked different than mine, and for me, you know, that was a sick person, and I was not. But you know, that was not true. At the end of my drinking, I had drank everything away, and I didn't know where else to go, and so I went to AA. And it was actually pretty miraculous. I don't know how I didn't go to detox, because I was physically dependent. I did suffer through the DTs. I thought I was just having anxiety every morning.
Yeah.
I had no idea. And you know, especially those first 3 months, man, were absolutely brutal. Not only, you know, like physical.
Jess, I'm sorry. For the audience, can you explain what DTs are? Like, we all know what it stands for, but can you explain?
Yeah, so it's the tremors, right? It's you're physically withdrawing from alcohol. And it can cause you to go into seizures. It's not good. It's not comfortable. And I just had no idea. I thought I was having anxiety. I thought I needed a drink to calm down a little bit. And, you know, I didn't know what I didn't know.
So like, I'm thinking, you know, when you finally or like, what helped you, and maybe I missed it, what helped you make that like decision to, okay, I'm gonna detox, or I need to stop, or, you know, was there anything specific that like helped you make that decision?
So pretty much, and this is a little bit embarrassing for me to admit, but at that point I had already, you know, ruined a lot of things, with my family, with my career. And, you know, I had this boyfriend who, you know, was the quality boyfriends, you know, that you have when you're in active addiction. And, you know, he was part of my addiction too. And when he told me that, you know, I was an asshole and had a drinking problem, I heard that not because, oh, the boyfriend said it, but because that was the one area of my life that I thought I was pulling the wool over somebody's head, because the jig was up everywhere else. And, you know, I had a brother who went to AA. I went to a meeting with him. He had invited me, and I just kept going. I just kept going, and I ended up meeting wonderful people and changing my life.
That's awesome. And so like, one of those wonderful people that you met along the way is on with us, right?
Yes.
And so, Jackie, do you think you can share a little bit about your, you know, your addiction stuff, you know, your active addiction, and then getting into recovery, and then we can hear about you two meeting?
Yeah. I would say, I was born with an addictive brain. My first stuff I remember is like binge eating Cheez-Its on the couch to the point I would like gorge myself. And it really manifested in food. And then I think through graduate school, relying on wine to wind down after doing work and internships and classes, and it was acceptable. But I think in the back of my head, I always knew I drank differently. Like I drank to alleviate things. I drank to escape. I never drank because I just wanted like half of a glass. Like that was not me. I thought I pulled it off that way, but I didn't. And I would say like a lot of my anxiety and rage through my early 20s into mid 20s, like the times I was arguing or unhappy or dissatisfied or angry were around the times I was drinking. Like it was exaggerating all of these feelings that I wasn't coping with. Um, and I got into a relationship with someone who really wasn't looking to get into a relationship. So at that point I was like, great, we should live together and be married. Which like totally makes sense.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So we just took on a lot of things, and we didn't have that strong foundation of like having each other's backs. And I almost looking back, I feel like I wanted him to say like something's wrong, what's wrong? Like I almost like an attention seeking way. When I look back, and my drinking really progressed after my grandmother passed away, and I just continued to build on it. Um, I did go to detox during COVID because I was not working during COVID. Um, and I just was consuming wine for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And it tends to make you feel
Mostly
like,
Jackie, was it mostly wine or did
yeah,
you?
wine and Fireball. Yeah.
And what was the? I'm just curious. Not that it's like in anyone else's interest, but what was the brand of the wine usually? Did it matter or I don't know.
No, it did not. I'm a Josh girl. Um, so yeah, I went to my first detox in 2020, and I looked around the room and I was like, oh my God, these poor people are alcoholics and addicts. Like, but good thing I'm not. I just had too much wine during COVID. Who
Were you
didn't?
able to help anyone in the detox when you were in there? Like your roommate or I'm just kidding. It's a bad.
I'm sure I did.
Hey,
Yeah, and then fast forward like a year and a half later, my drinking had progressed. My marriage was ending. And my cousin, who was in recovery, kind of didn't give me the choice. He's like, see you in the morning, we're gonna go dry out. And I was like, damn it. So then I went for a second time and I blew through there, quick spin dry, and went home angry. And then my third time, I was still living with my ex-husband, and I was supposed to pick him up from the airport, but I drank instead. And similar to Jess, a lot of stuff was crumbling around me that I couldn't control, and I couldn't stop drinking. And my life truly was just crashing down around me, which I had never experienced. I'm a little bit of a perfectionist in some ways. And I'm in the social work field. So I was really good at telling other people how to manage their houses, their addictions, their homes, their relationships. But I could not manage a single thing. And I was very lost and depressed. And so my ex came home because I didn't pick him up and was like, what the heck, as I'm drunk at 8 o'clock in the morning. And so I threw like an epic pity party, called my whole family, and then I went to detox that day, and I've been sober since.
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So like my life is great. I have a partner who is also in recovery, who like wants to also be my partner, and that's super rewarding.
Yeah.
And our recovery is separate, but it's number one for both of us. I have the cutest little dog and cat, and yeah.
Is your
stuff
dog cat right there? Can we take a?
the dog's on the bed. I don't know. He's
Oh, can we get a?
No.
Rose.
Can we get a close-up of your bed, Jackie?
oh, this is my guest room, guys. Okay,
Yeah.
where my makeup light is popping. You know.
So okay, so you guys, let's back up a little bit, I guess. So you guys both enter recovery, and when do you two meet? And tell us about that.
So it must have been, I don't know, probably springtime of 2022, maybe? Summer, yeah. We were at a meeting. I just love this story. And I was talking to one of my friends at the meeting about how I could not wait until I was eligible to sponsor people because I was going to start my own cult. And I was going to have my sponsees like carry me around on something, just and like fan me with feathers.
Jess
and
is great. Jess
Yes.
is great.
Yes,
We
exactly.
love.
Exactly. That was the vibe for sure. So I hear Jackie like snickering. She overhears this, and then a couple days later, she asked me to be her sponsor.
What was it like? What was the snicker like? Can you like do it?
No, she can do it.
Come on. All right, whatever. Go ahead. So you hear a snicker.
Yeah, like that.
That's Jess. She thinks she
Yeah.
something like that.
And a couple days later, Jackie asked me if I would be her sponsor. So I guess, the starting the cult pitch was
Oh my-
working. And I was like, yeah, I have arrived. Which, that's funny.
And
So I am not Jackie's sponsor now. Jackie and I are very good friends. But there was a period that she was coming over to my house once a week, and we would have our iced coffee and sit outside and read the book together and, shoot the shit. And that was a special time,
So Jackie, can you talk a little bit about what it was like or what was going through your mind like when you were thinking about asking Jess to sponsor you and how that all went like for you?
Yeah. So when I left treatment, I made the choice to go into sober living because I knew if I went back home to the living situation with my ex-husband, I would drink again. And I just wasn't willing to do all of this again. So we were told we had to get sponsors, and I'm someone that I know what the rules are, but I'm gonna maybe not do it all the way. And so I was like, well, other people don't have sponsors, so therefore I don't need one because I don't want to be vulnerable. And then I was told, you can't stay out overnight unless you have a sponsor. And I was like, oh, hell no. So Jess had asked me to do a commitment. And so I think it was a combination of Jess's recovery and her message, but also the fact that she was super non-judgmental, open to meditation, and didn't just focus on God or those types of more traditional AA. And I felt like she was someone that was working on having what I wanted, and I wasn't there yet, and I really needed someone that was going to be firm and honest with me because a lot of people were intimidated, to be honest with me, I think for a while. So yeah, we just hit it off, and we did some good work together, and we're just really good friends, and we can be super honest with one another, which has us laughing a lot and of how absurd the two of us are.
Yeah,
But
pretty absurd, just like the few hours that I've spent with you. Pretty crazy.
I'm just like, it's nice to know that we're this crazy without like being
Right.
under the influence. Yeah, it's reassuring. We
It
haven't
is.
lost our edge, you know?
Right, exactly.
You guys want to get crazy, join recovery, stay sober and you'll get freaking crazy. So
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to ask Jess and Jackie, like, with the whole sponsorship thing and then like falling apart from that, like, what was that deciding factor to move away and just remain friends? Because that, I mean, there's a little like power and influence and like authority that comes with that relationship. And I've heard a lot of people like almost afraid to like break up with their sponsors because, they thought so many things like, could result out of that.
Well, so that wasn't really our decision. That was my sponsor's decision.
Oh.
Yes.
Also, can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. So not recently now, but I believe last May, maybe so, I don't know, about a year ago, give or take, I discovered Big Book Step Study. And so that is a very strict way of working the 12 steps. And you are not, able to sponsor until you've been through all of the steps. And, that was the route that I chose. And I followed my sponsor's advice, and I was really nervous to go to Jackie with that, but not but, and, at the end of the day, like, it felt really good to be honest with her and be able to tell her, I really think that this is for the best because, I really want your friendship. She is just a wonderful person that I really rely on, with just her strength and compassion, and we laugh. We both work in professional fields, and, I think, at least in my experience, that can add to an extent an extra layer of the shame and the guilt. And it's nice to have, other people where, we don't have to hide.
Jackie, what was it like for you to get dumped by your sponsor?
No.
Those were my exact words. Dumping me, and I was devastated. I was in the parking lot of Planet Fitness. I don't even think I could go work out after that.
Is this true?
Well, I was Planet Fitness, but I think I did go walk on the treadmill.
Okay.
You worked it out. Good for you.
I worked it out with a healthy coping skill. Yes. I think I was bummed. But I understood that. I mean, it's a no-brainer. I wasn't losing her from my life. And I almost think that's like a bond of like the ultimate pinky promise. Like, we have been really vulnerable with each other. Like, we have we're working towards the same goal. And so it's, how sometimes you have people you're like, oh, but don't say anything. Jess and I don't feel like I have to say that with Jess. Like, we just know not to say, like, it's in the vault. So no, I was bummed, but it was like an understandable, like, yeah, this is part of how we have to grow. And yeah, it never came between us. Like, relationships always ebb and flow, but yeah, we still are besties.
Yeah, you are. I've witnessed it.
Yeah.
So if we can touch on the Big Book Step Study stuff, Jess, a little bit. So me and Bob Rose, we've talked about on the show, taking steps and different methods to take steps in recovery when we're talking about 12-step recovery, obviously. And we've talked about many different other pathways to recovery as well, but focusing on the 12-step recovery. So Jess, what you're talking about is really structured. You need to go through the steps with a sponsor who's done it the exact same way as everyone else in that step study process, right? So what's that been like for you, and where are you at in that process? Because that looks a little different than other methods, right?
Yeah, so I started writing my fourth step on June 1st, and I'm still writing today. And the first part of that was my sponsor asked me to write down a list of everybody I have a resentment against going back to childhood. And I don't remember if I'm just shy of or just over 400 names. So yeah.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
the majority of it is just stupid, petty stuff
Yeah.
that I hold on to because I'm an alcoholic, you know?
Yep. I remember earliest memory. That's what I was told, right? And I was told not to question it. And like, if God or higher power brought me a name, I just jot it down. The worst case scenario was that it's not a resentment, right? I mean, might as well like just jot it down or whatever. Err on the side of like caution with it. And that's great. How are you finding the writing? Like, how are you finding the writing?
It's necessary and it is a lot. It's a lot. For me, as I'm writing, I'm discovering that my perspective about pretty much everything has been not what I thought it was. And if it's very confusing. Yeah, I just keep writing and, you know, more will be revealed. So they'll say, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Excellent.
Right.
And it sounds like a little bit, just in terms of like this deeper dive into 12 steps. It's a lot slower and it's a lot more in depth. You know, I think like I've heard of some people like flying, almost not flying through the steps, but like every few weeks going through a step and kind of going through it. This sounds like to be like a more intense version of that, and really taking your time and going slow and looking deeper into yourself and your experiences.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So procedurally, you know, you start with the resentments and the turnarounds, and then you write your fears. And the final part of the fourth step is the sex inventory. So it's a lot. According to my sponsor, you know, this is really going to bring everything to the surface that needs to be dealt with, because I believe that the woman I brought into AA has to drink to survive. It's just a fact. And so I had to change in order to not need to drink.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's working the steps, it's the social and, you know, the sober network and the friends that I've met. I'm very much into recovery dharma and meditation, and, you know, it's a good life, and, you know, it's so much different. I mean, I'm a lawyer. I've been a practicing attorney since 2015, and now I find myself.
Ow!
Oh, thank you. And
big brains on Jess.
yeah, thank you. But you know, now I find myself only doing that part-time because that's just craziness. And you know, sober Jess, you know, wants peace. And so practicing law part-time is good. And I'm working as a substance use and counselor intern, and I'm back in school, and you know, things are good.
I asked where you're taking classes for substance abuse, or I don't know.
I will tell you privately.
Okay. All right. Yeah, no, because I'm familiar with like North Shore Communities program and some others, but that's really great. That's awesome. How's it going?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It really is. It's good. Yeah.
Cool. And I had a question about you too, but I can't really bring it to my frontal lobe at this particular moment.
Yeah, I jump in.
No.
I'm gonna do it anyways. So I want to ask both of you, and hopefully I can get both of your thought process on this, but the relationship between females within the kind of the self-help recovery world, what was that like for you? I mean, treating people in recovery and early recovery and all different kinds of stages of recovery, there has been this notion of like, women not getting along, or women kind of, like despising each other because other men are looking. Was I talking? Was I in the middle of saying a sentence? I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
No, I don't think so.
No, thank you. Thanks.
I wasn't hearing anything.
Yeah. We've heard that so much, and like even in the detox that both Adam and I worked at, like there was like physical altercations because people are like 3 days sober in an inpatient detox facility, and there's a guy across the hall that looked at them, but they looked at the other person, and now it kind of like rolls around. And I've heard like it's part of it like is a difficult like connection between like women trusting each other and really just bonding in that kind of way. Can you, either one of you and both of you, share in terms of just like getting into like AA and either the trust or mistrust within other like women or even within men in that kind of space?
I would say I lived in a women's sober house as someone who was a social worker for the state and then left, and then I went into affordable housing social work, and it was a little challenging seeing people relapse when I was in early recovery myself. That made it challenging, but it was women supporting me, women helping me navigate it. I met the best women ever. They authentically knew the real me. I'm a pretty guarded person when it comes to like building intimate friendships, and if I like you, then I love you and you're in the fold. But if I'm not too sure, you're not coming anywhere near me. So I'm pretty protective with my energy when it comes to that. But I've met amazing supportive women. And I think no matter where you go, you will find people that just aren't meant for you.
Yeah. Okay. Very good.
Jess?
Yeah, I would agree with that. The women that I have met, on this journey, they're the best friends I've ever had. I have more friends now than I've ever had. And, there's something really special about being able to go to somebody and say, I've never asserted a boundary before. I have no idea what I'm doing, but you're a safe person, and I'm going to try to tell you that you hurt my feelings without being an asshole.
Oh my God.
And you just can't do that with everybody because they'll think you're nuts or they'll take advantage of that. But with our girls, we can. So
Yeah.
I think that that's really special.
Awesome. And that thought come back to you?
What do you think?
It's gone forever.
Yes, I even did the thing where like people tell you if you look left and then you look right, then it comes back, but no, it didn't happen.
Lost in space.
I'm sorry, guys. It was probably like an amazing question too. Like,
oh God, yeah, absolutely, right.
5 stars.
We all would have been famous.
I know it would have blew this podcast out of the water.
This was going to be the question to like put us on the map or something, but yeah, whatever. It's okay. What are you gonna do?
We're okay being small. Another question is, Jess and Jackie, if you could speak to your younger self, what would be the thing that you say to that person to maybe change the trajectory, in and around substance use? Jess?
Nope. Radical acceptance. I can't change the past. And I do believe in the butterfly effect. So, even if I could change, that would have unforeseen consequences. No, I'm good. I'm happy with where I am.
Okay, awesome. Jackie?
Okay, well, I will play the game, and
I knew you would, Jackie. Yeah.
I think I would say like you are worthy of a happy and healthy life. I think I questioned that for a long time. So I think that's something I would have reassured myself.
Yeah. Love that.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Awesome.
Jack.
No problem.
No.
So do we wanna transition?
You guys gonna stick around?
Now?
Yes, I got a ride home for my offspring, so I'm good.
Nice.
For your
That was a big question. And Jess, I forgot to ask you, like, we talked about this off air, all the accommodations and like your wardrobe stuff and the money for that, everything worked out.
Well, no, that's why I'm in a sweatshirt with a stain on it.
So Jess asked me,
Apparently, Jackie got the budget with her lighting and her makeup and her blonde hair that I've never seen that blonde in real life.
yeah, Jess asked about the budget for wardrobe, Barbaros, and I don't know, just
Yeah. You might have to wait for a long time for us to be able to provide for our guests.
At the beginning of this, I meant to ask Jess if she had everything she needed or if we had to do anything, but whatever. It seems like everything was good, so I'm glad.
Perfect. I promise I'm not high maintenance. That was a joke when I asked.
I know.
Did you tell Barbaros that your last episode of the podcast was streaming on my TV in my living
room? Hey, you want to tell a story or should I tell it? You tell it.
I was like listening to the podcast and it was the part where Adam made a joke at the New Year's Eve party to the woman drinking that if like the alcohol was fine, but if it was crack, it'd be another story. And my partner was downstairs and he texted me, "Are you streaming to the TV?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "Are you listening to people talk about crack?" It was like genuinely concerned that I deep dive into the crack cocaine. And I reassured him that it was an accident and it was just the podcast.
Accident.
No, that's my really good friend Adam loves crack. That's so funny.
Is that so weird? I have a friend who loves crack. I mean, that's not odd at all.
Yeah. No. Let me be me.
Why are you trying to control me? So this segment of the show, oh no, hold on. We have to music producer, let's transition music, please. Let me Was that
what?
Was that jazz? Was that a jazzy twinge too?
Listen, I was able to add something to it because of like the extra views that we had on YouTube. So
yeah, I mean our production value is just going to skyrocket. I mean, we're just so excited. So the way the game goes is
like that.
So the way the game goes is that I'm going to throw out at least 2 options.
I told them how you suck at this, so they already know. Yeah.
Would you want to share to the entire world how many controversies you've offered up?
Yeah, every time I've offered one up, you've denied it. Okay. What about the Brady Montana one? You won't do it
because that's not a controversy.
Shut up.
That's not a controversy. He after a year of doing the show, Adam still is confused of what a controversy is. Still is. So let that settle in. You might want to rethink your friendship. I'm attached to the hip with this guy, but you don't have to be. You can run for the hills as quickly as possible. So I'm gonna throw out 2 options. We'll go around and just kind of talk a little bit about why you chose what you chose, and if it really does resonate with you, something that you kind of just mindfully or even mindlessly practice. So first one, heater, and Adam's already stretching out, so you're absolutely not going first. So flossing, when you floss, Do you start with the top, then bottom, right or left side of your mouth? Do you have a mindful practice of flossing? Jess, we'll start with you because you're right here on my screen.
All right, so I do not have a mindful practice of flossing, but when I do floss, I start with the top left.
Oh.
Left.
Fun
Okay.
fact for
Oh,
you.
I'm judging you. Big judgment over here. I'm just kidding. I'm not judging you. I don't.
Oh, hold on. I could. Jess, Jackie, you're right there. So next.
Okay. Top right to start. That
Scandalous.
just makes sense.
This makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Adam Taylor.
Barbara Stindler. I'm same as Jackie, actually. Top right. And I think it's just, that's how my dentist does it when I get a clip. So I try with what I try to go with what the professionals do, like with most of my life. Whatever. Yeah, and that's it. Oh.
Just Jess, quick question. Are you right hand or left hand dominant?
Left hand.
I was gonna ask that, so it makes sense.
Yeah, I'm not judging you anymore, Jess. Good job.
Oh, thank you.
I'm left-handed. I floss top right first.
Huh.
Wow.
Judge.
Yeah, weird. I go right first, weekend, and then I really go into strong hand, left side of the mouth.
Hey, Bob Rose.
Yeah.
I want you to know this wasn't like as exciting of a controversy as you're trying to make it. Why don't we go on to the next one?
Well, how interesting is it that Jess and Jackie have just now something new about each other? How about that? They've been friends. They had no idea how they floss. Now they know. Now you can't erase that from your memory. How about that?
I've never felt closer to you.
That's what we do on the show. We bring people who think they're close to each other even closer.
I love it.
Okay. We're staying with dental hygiene.
Oh,
Good God.
Jess, do you brush your tongue after brushing your teeth? Yes or no?
After, yes.
After,
Well, at the
yes.
same time. It all happens at once.
No, do you?
Yeah.
Okay. Jackie?
No, I use a copper tongue scraper after an Ayurvedic course that I took, and I will never go back. Yeah.
You fancy. You should do this.
Well, they say when you brush it, it pushes the bacteria into your tongue. When you scrape it, it removes it. So get on Amazon, order those copper tongue scrapers.
can I get a used one for cheaper?
Ew.
Yes, probably for $3.99
Yeah, just discounted price.
for a new one.
Taylor?
I brush my tongue, and I don't pay so much attention to whether like it's after I brush my teeth or not. So at some point I do it. Sometimes it's maybe at the tail end of brushing my teeth. Sometimes it's probably like closer to after 1 minute of brushing. So I only do it because, well, the story behind it is that my mom told me I needed to do it like when I was younger. So that's why I do it.
Yeah. I stumbled upon brushing your tongue significantly later, well into my adult years, when at some point a dentist was like, "Do you brush your tongue?" I'm like, "Excuse you? What? I do everything else, the hard stuff. What am I doing the soft stuff for?" Like, no, you have to brush it, very similar to what Jackie said. And then kind of, even with the regular toothbrushes, on the reverse side of it, there's those, little things on it. And that's what it was always there for. I was never knew. My parents never educated me at home about that. And so I had to get into it, much later in life, and it's become such a routine. I do it like subconsciously. It just, everything goes, and then the tongue gets brushed. So, all right, we all brush our tongue. Fantastic, excellent hygiene with this room right here. This is all.
I don't think I don't think we can get to number 3 fast enough.
Fuck off. All right, number 3, which may speak volumes of our habits, but when you go to sleep, is your phone up or phone down, screen down? Jess.
Screen, I don't know. But I will say I usually do keep my phone screen down always. But I really don't know when I'm in bed. My phone is in my bed with me. I don't know if it's screen up or down.
We're down. Okay. All right. Tonight you will know.
I will. I look forward to it. I'll update the group.
Yes. Email us, please. The world wants to know. Jackie?
I am a TV watcher. So I watch it on my phone. So like screen up and on. Because I don't want to hear my own thoughts before I go to sleep.
So your phone is on as you're sleeping.
No, but Jackie, we're talking about when you going to sleep.
Yeah, I leave it till I'm asleep and then I probably smack it or something and it turns off. Yeah,
Okay.
like it's too much, but I'm already asleep.
Mm.
So it's up and it's on.
Up
You
and
leave it
on.
on, fall asleep.
Yeah, I leave it on while I'm falling asleep.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
AT?
So it's face down, and it hasn't always been that way for me. You should know that.
Very well.
Yeah, it's face down these days. I think in my mind, I'm somehow scared that like something's gonna trigger like the light on the phone to go off, and that's gonna wake me up. However, I don't think that would happen, but I have this unknown fear of that happening. So
Okay.
that's all I have.
Yeah, good share. Good share.
Thank you. Thanks.
Way to be vulnerable in this space. So proud of you.
Yeah, I mean, I feel comfortable, you guys.
There we go.
We've only been doing it for a year. So yeah, I'm a phone down guy, and I don't know, this I think has changed in the last 5-10 years. I'm like a light sleeper, so any glimmer of light like in sleep, it will wake me up. And there's some inconsiderate human beings out there, most of them are my friends, who will text at god awful times of the morning because their schedules are much different than mine. And so that's the last thing I need to be jarred to a text messages, saying you're a loser. I can wait 3 more hours to read that.
And can I just say, Bobros is the worst person like I could ever text with. Like the worst. Like it gives me so much anxiety when I have to text with this guy. Okay, because his response. I'm gonna go on a little tangent right now. I feel it coming on.
Well, we have a therapist in training, and then we have a social worker. Let's do it. Let's go to couples therapy.
When I text Bob Rose, like his response sometimes is, "Who is this?" Now we've been friends for
Thank
years.
You, Jackie. Thank you.
If that doesn't that gives me major anxiety. I'm like, what the fuck? You know who it is, right? Or like, something like a bunch of middle fingers, like 3 middle fingers, like that type of stuff. Like he never, like sometimes his responses are, will you text in English? I'm like, what the, this is what I'm getting. And it just gives me so much anxiety when I get those types of responses from him, which is a lot.
What kind of craziness are you saying that's bringing these responses?
Like, Hey, Bob
Good
Rose,
redirection, Jess.
how are you? Like very basic, generic, checking in on you type of questions, okay? Nothing.
Oh, and then you just get spammed with middle fingers.
Yeah, sometimes. Right,
Like,
Barbara?
you're doing well, and he's like, "Go fuck yourself."
Yeah, but like
I don't ever say those words though, Jack.
worst
It's
one-
just the middle finger. I let him interpret what the middle fingers truly mean. Let his mind really just do the work.
the worst ones is like when you have no idea what I'm talking about. Like no clue. It's foreign, literally foreign message that I'm messaging you. And it is like I'll reread it. I'm like, no, that makes sense. And it just
I think what we can do in the future is show the text messages I get from you to the audience of the Addict and the Counselor Show, and let them decide if it's fucking coherent what you're writing to me in like gibberish.
Jackie.
Yes,
Jackie.
that's a good controversy.
Jackie. You listening?
I'm here.
I just want to confirm you're listening. Sometimes when we're going back and forth on like him, not being able to interpret messages or whatever, and me having really bad anxiety, my next move is to call him up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what happens then? Forward it to voicemail, or not now. I'm about to fall asleep, or I'm watching the game, or whatever the fuck. I'm having like major anxiety attack about the message and stuff. This is the only person in my 180 contacts that gives me anxiety when I text with them.
I'm worried that you know how many contacts you have that readily.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
It's his crazy nightly routine. Let's see how many friends I still have over the years. Oh, 180. I feel good. Now I can sleep better.
Are you mad at me? You send those to everyone.
No.
All right. Couples therapy over. Next one, controversy number 4 for tonight. Tropicana versus Florida natural orange juice. Jess, what's your go-to move?
Tropicana.
All right. Jackie?
Yeah, probably Tropicana.
Probably. You seem indifferent.
What's wrong with you?
Do you not care about the orange juice that you put into your body?
I don't even know the last time I purchased orange juice.
Yeah.
Adam, apparently.
I don't drink a ton of orange juice, but when I do,
when I feel fancy.
Hey, am I talking right now, Barbaros?
No, you're not. No one's listening.
It's Tropicana. I remember Florida having like a sourish type of taste compared to Tropicana.
Mm.
Okay. I am a Tropicana person. I've tried Florida. I will only go Florida's natural if there is no Tropicana, and I might even go like organic orange juice before I even go to Florida's natural. And I do drink half a glass of orange juice every single morning. So that is really offensive, Jackie, when you say that you do have no even idea of the last time you bought orange juice. my orange juice people are offended.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Should look into that. Maybe work that out in therapy or something.
I will.
It makes it a topic. Why don't I like orange juice? All right. Last one for tonight. Bagel. Do you eat it like a sandwich, like bagel and cream cheese? Do you eat it like a sandwich, or do you go single sliced?
Single sliced.
Single slice.
Bacon, cheddar, chive, cream cheese at Andy Mann's is my favorite.
Wow. You fancy like that.
Yep.
Excuse us. Sorry.
We didn't ask about the cream cheese. We didn't ask about anything else. All we asked about was the sandwich, in a sandwich or sliced.
She's self-disclosing.
I don't think it's your turn yet.
Jess, feel free to tell him to fuck off at any point during the show.
Fuck off, Adam.
What the?
Yes.
See if you come on here again, Jess. I'm just kidding.
Jess, we'll see you next week. It's a pleasure to have you. Jackie, what's your style?
Single slice.
Single slice. Any rhyme or reason?
No, just makes sense.
All right, we're moving on then. Thank you. All right. Way to share. Way to share. AJT?
You've called me in four different ways.
I'm glad you picked up on it.
Yep. So 9 times out of 10, it's single slice, and usually because it'll last longer.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I think we're all on the same page with this one. I like a single slice. I do not like it when you Dunkin' Donuts or whatever, and they put it together. The cream cheese is then unequal on both sides. I just don't like it. I like one side, and I won't share, but I'm really specific on what side I eat first, even as a further, crazy behavior of mine. But yeah, I find it strange that people eat bagels like a sandwich with the cream cheese in the middle. I think it should be enjoyed separately. It's two separate.
Yeah.
So that was the last controversy for tonight. Jess and Jackie, thank you so much for being here, dedicating your precious time with us and the rest of the world. I mean, there's about like 9 or 10 countries who will be watching you, hearing you, learning from you.
Argentina, Italy, Australia. What else?
I think Japan is in there, Romania is in there, Turkey is in there.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm
And now,
United States.
Granted, it's 0.01% for each, but it's there. It's there. It's represented.
It means something. It means something.
It does mean something.
Yeah. So
everything.
Thank you guys, very much. It means a lot to us, and it means a lot to me that people like you can kind of come on and share your story, and affect other people, and people are going to be affected by stories. And so, thank you all very much. You two are amazing, amazing individuals. I greatly appreciate your time and your ability to share about your experiences. And I know for a fact other people are going to be positively affected by your story. And, I appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, friends.
And I obviously really appreciate you guys, since I'm the one that got you to come on, so no, but
well, if I'm being honest, Jackie's the one who got me to come on.
Yes. All right.
Good work, Jackie.
Robert, you want to give some info or?
Yep. So people who are watching this on YouTube, thank you very much. Please subscribe, follow, comment, anything on YouTube. This is our first few times, doing the podcast on YouTube. You can follow us on any podcast platform. If you listen to us on Spotify, you can comment directly on the episode. We're on Amazon Music Podcast, Apple Podcast, and the show is called The Addict and the Counselor. And you can also email us at theaddictandthecounselor@gmail.com. Any questions, comments, concerns, feedback, any topics you want us to cover, we are not bashful whatsoever. There's a raising hand icon on Zoom, right? But no, just,
using my rail hand. Something that you missed. I want to add that the YouTube channel name is The Addict and the Addict and the Counselor podcast show, if you're looking for the channel.
So put your little fingers to use and look us up.
All right. Awesome. That's episode 40, that's episode 42 in the books, or 41, 42, 41. All right.
Have a good rest of your night, guys. Thank you so much.
You too.
All right,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, have a good night.